Lamar Jackson, is he getting punished for not having an agent? Pat McAfee and my guy, Michael Lombardi. Nice to see you, Michael. Look, I wanted to talk about this. This Lamar Jackson thing is pissing me off. I'm not going to lie. And I want to lay it all out there. Here's the deal. I think it is criminal the way that the NFL and the way that the NFL owners have this pseudo loophole where they can just tag players outside of a rookie contract, and they basically force a player to play for up like five to 6 years, right? Lamar Jackson is a unanimous MVP. Lamar Jackson is a confirmed stud. Bottom line, he has been the MVP of the league. The Ravens win a whole lot of games with him. He is a 26-year-old quarterback, plays the most important position in the league. Okay? And you're telling me that no team is going to make an offer on him. He is out there to be had. The Ravens have tagged him. He is out there to be had. And all these teams who want quarterbacks, and all these teams who were courting Deshaun Watson last year, none of those teams all of a sudden want to even talk to Lamar Jackson. That's insane to me. So this is what I think is happening. Now, let me make this really clear. I do not think this is a racial issue at all. But I do think the NFL is colluding against Lamar Jackson. I think that they are pissed that Cleveland gave Deshaun $250 million guaranteed. They do not want that to be a thing. They do not want the NFL or the players to get used to $250 million fully guaranteed contracts. Because if Lamar gets it and Deshaun gets it, what's Joe Burrow going to get? He's going to get it. What's Justin Herbert going to get? He's going to get it. And then all of a sudden you've got 10 guys in the NFL making $250 million guaranteed. The owners do not want that to happen. So I think, and I can't prove it, but I think the owners came together and said, nobody do nothing. Okay? Sit on your hands. We're going to send a message, and we're going to force him to play or hold out. Now, I think that's a shame. Because if Lamar Jackson was a running back, he'd be nearing the end of his career, right? And he could get past the prime of his career. He could be an MVP. He could do all that stuff, and he could never truly sign a contract. That is insane to me. That is crazy. And I have one way that you can fix this. And I say it all the time. I do not think NFL teams should be able to franchise tag out of a rookie deal. I think you do your rookie contract, and then I think you have to sign another contract, and then I think you can start getting tagged. But the tagging out of the rookie contract, I think, is so dangerous and so ridiculous because it penalizes a player for outperforming their rookie contract. Lamar Jackson was a late first-round pick, okay? So he's going to sign a contract. He's signing a rookie deal. He just wants a chance to play. People wanted him to be a wide receiver whenever he was getting drafted. They wanted him. He didn't run at the combine when he was coming out of college because he did not want people to see that and be like, oh, no, he's a receiver. He's a running back, okay? So he signs his rookie deal. He outperforms anyone's beliefs. No one thought he'd be an MVP, all right? No one thought he'd even be a viable starting quarterback, much less an all-pro, much less an MVP, much less leading the Ravens to playoffs after playoffs after playoffs, okay? Then he gets tagged, okay? Still performing at a high level. Never signs the deal. That is unfair to the player. Unfair to the player. So I think the NFL is sticking it to Lamar because of Deshaun Watson. Lamar is better than Watson. We are 1 year removed. Think about this. We are 1 year removed from Deshaun Watson with serious criminal allegations being courted all over the NFL, then gets traded, then gets given a $200+ million fully guaranteed contract. Deshaun Watson has never won the MVP. Deshaun Watson is not Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is a younger, better, more pedigreed version of Deshaun Watson. And teams won't even talk to him. You don't think that's a little fishy? You don't think that's crazy? It is insane.
Seemingly fits in the Atlanta Falcons culture, also in many other cultures that are around the league. As soon as he's given the non-exclusive tag, which we know other teams are able to come and get him, and we want to break through that process here in a second. But first, I want to know, why do you think all these teams came out so quickly publicly saying we are not in the Lamar Jackson race, even though they are certainly in the quarterback-needed race, and they've looked into other veteran quarterbacks of the past? Is this like a message you think that's being sent about guaranteed contracts? Lombo, is that how you read it as a man who spent, 60 years in the NFL?
Man, I am begging Michael Lombardi to agree with me because I respect Michael Lombardi a lot. I think he's awesome. I listen to his show a lot, the GM Shuffle. He's on VEASAN a lot. Everyone knows how much I love VEASAN. Love Lombardi. So I'm hoping he agrees here because I'm dead set on this.
350 years in the NFL? Honestly.
Well, I think it's lion season in the NFL right now.
There we go.
How can the Atlanta Falcons, with a straight face, say that they were all in on Deshaun Watson last year and say they're not in on Lamar Jackson?
That's what Pac-Man said, too.
How can Carolina say that they're not in on Lamar Jackson? First of all, Ryan Poles, the general manager of the Chicago Bears, says he has 3 number ones on the table, according to what Peter King wrote about in his column, that teams will move up and he can get 3 number ones.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So let's actually talk about like the market. Okay. So the way this works, I'm going to be brief with this, but the way Lamar's situation works is a team can give him a contract offer. All right. So now he's tagged. So he's like, whatever it is, 1 year, $37 million. A team, let's just say the Bears. Let's say the Panthers. Yeah, this is perfect. The Panthers can say, we'll give you whatever it is, 8 years, $180 million, or 8 years, $200 million, or whatever. We'll guarantee $150 million. I'm just making shit up. If Lamar signs that, then the Ravens have an opportunity to match it. If the Ravens do not match it, then they would have to receive compensation. 2 first-round picks is what people are saying is the compensation. All right. So now let's frame that. If you're the Panthers, you can get Lamar Jackson for that. Or you can trade 2 first-rounders, you can trade whatever, up to take C.J. Stroud, or take Bryce Young, or take Will Levis, or take Anthony Richardson. Which one would you rather have? Would you rather trade capital, the compensation? Would you rather trade that to move up and draft a quarterback? Or would you rather have 26-year-old Lamar Jackson for the next however many years? I don't even think it's close. If you're the New York Jets, would you rather trade for Aaron Rodgers, or would you rather work out a long-term deal with Lamar Jackson? Again, I don't think it's even close. Lamar Jackson. But these teams, they've said, not only is that not an option, we're not even entertaining it.
1 picks. He can get the flip in the first and then 2 more ones. Why would you pay all that for an unproven player when you can go get Lamar? Now, look, the contract becomes tough because there's no agent involved here, so it's a tough situation.
Lamar doesn't have an agent. Lamar is his own agent. That is obviously problematic. Lamar has said that he wants Deshaun Watson's contract, which is $200+ million fully guaranteed. That ain't going to happen. Okay? But you got to think that Lamar at this point understands, like, I'm either about to have to sit out, a la Carson Palmer. I'm either going to have to swallow my pride and play for the Ravens, who that ain't happening, for 1 year, $37 million. Or I'm going to have to take a lesser deal, but still a good deal. You know, whatever I laid out on the table, 8 years, 180, 8 years, $200 million, 8 years, $180 million for $140 million guaranteed. You know, if Derek Carr got $100 million guaranteed, I don't think there's anything wrong with Lamar Jackson getting 160, 180. And if I'm Lamar, I'm looking at all those choices. I'm saying, you know what? All right, I'll come down a little bit. I'll take the 150 guaranteed, or I'll take the 160 guaranteed. Let's rock and roll.
The Ravens did by putting the non-exclusive on is they took an advertise. They said, call us, make a deal. And I think all these teams that said they're not interested, when they were interested in Watson last year, you know, what message are they sending to their fan base? I mean, we were interested in Watson last year, but we're not interested in this guy. This guy won MVP. The other guy, the other guy missed football. Like, how does that make any sense? So I think a lot of it is just posturing, and a lot of it is a message to the Ravens that they're not going to engage. trying to get the price of 2 number ones down. Remember, when they put that tag on them, you don't have to pay a 2 number ones.
You can. Yeah, correct. You can pay you can do a first and a fourth. You can do a first and a third. You can move some stuff around.
You can negotiate a deal.
Yeah.
You can negotiate a deal. So it could be less than 2 number ones. And I think that's what we're in a posturing mode of the NFL. We're not interested in Lamar. Frankly, who wouldn't be? Like, I know it's going to cost a lot of money. I know the guarantee's a problem, but there's still solutions.
Pac-Man has a question for you.
Hey, Mike, do you think if he had an agent, do you think we would be still talking about this?
I think an agent would help for sure. I think an agent would be able to kind of, what an agent I think can do is have those slimy conversations, these underhanded slimy conversations, whereas Lamar can't. The agent can get in there and kind of say what Lombardi's saying to the team or to the front office or whatever, where Lamar cannot do that. So I think the agent would, I don't know if it would be done. I don't know if it'd be a done deal by now, but I think there'd be a better chance of it happening than with Lamar.
No, I think it would be. I think he's hurt himself. Look, his mom, he trusts his mom, but you got to find somebody who's confidant who can do this.
Yeah.
Agents broker deals. Dave Dunn, the agent for Aaron Rodgers, is going to broker that deal with the Jets. That's how this deal gets. That's how it all gets happened. And they also understand the value of the player in the open market. Now,
they also understand how it all works. You know, they understand the seedy underground of the NFL front offices.
Especially when it comes time when there's a lot of moving pieces in this Lamar Jackson thing. We got to satisfy Baltimore. We got to get the guarantee, and we got to find a trade partner. That's a lot of things that have to happen behind the scenes that you got to understand the National Football League to make it happen. And Lamar's mom, I don't know if she does that. I think it's unfair that he's in this. He should be out and high. Look, pay a flat fee. I don't know what the deal is, but you need somebody to broker this a little bit.
I think it's crazy that Lamar or players, a player in this situation wouldn't just say like, all right, look, I have 6 months to figure this out or I'm going to be screwed. Like I've done all the posturing I can do. I have put myself in a bit of a sticky situation. Let me find somebody who's an expert in this and let me get my options, because right now the options are not looking good. Right now, Baltimore's kind of drawing their line in the sand, and there's no one there to help Lamar navigate this. So, if it was me in this situation, whether I'm a football player or not, if I'm negotiating a deal like this, and it's this complicated, and it's this much money, and there's trade pieces involved, and guaranteed money involved, and there's, like Lombardi said, there's the Ravens, there's me, there's the future team. There's a lot of moving pieces here. I would rather pay that flat fee and say, look, you're the expert. You're the guy. Go get me the options. Explain it to me, and let's rock and roll.
You need somebody to do this so that you can get what you need to get out of it.
See, Lombo, because I've called you and asked for advice, I take a lot of pride in the fact that I represent myself. Like, at this stage of my life, I take a lot of pride in it. In the business conversations, I have the relationships with the people at the business to do it. I think I understand the business a little bit. But at some points, too, like there's a time where you have to look and be like, good business is probably for me not to be the one handling this particular situation because Lamar is in a very unique, this is a billion.
Let me also say this about Pat's situation. Pat has a security blanket of if all hell breaks loose in a business deal, he can just flip on the camera in his studio a couple of streets down from his house and business is gone. Lamar, he's got 32 places he can do this business, and if all hell breaks loose, he's going to miss the season. And Pat can do what he's doing for the rest of his life. Lamar can't do what he's doing for the rest of his life. So it's very different. It's much easier to be a musician and be your own agent or something because you can just produce your own music. You can just set that all up on your own. You can do it on your own time, on your own terms. Lamar can't play football on his own time. Lamar can't play football on his own terms. Lamar can't do that. Lamar has to play football in the NFL. He has to play football in 6 months. His body clock is working against him. Eventually, I keep referencing Carson Palmer. Carson sat out. if Lamar sits out, Lamar's skill set, that's not good, right? Lamar is not the guy that wants to sit out or can sit out. So all respects to Pat for being his own agent, but I think this is very different.
Billion dollar industry, and you're talking about 31 billionaires, okay? So if you're going in there alone, you're up against it immediately. Yeah. Like you are up against a lot of power and a lot of potential sway and everything like that. As somebody that is one of the loudest advocates for, like, people need to understand what's going on for themselves and people need to do it, like an NFL deal, if I was a quarterback, I don't know if I'm the guy is the right person to be doing that. And that's smart business to make that decision, I think. Like, that is something I feel like Lamar, because I think Lamar's probably a great businessman. I think his mom probably incredibly intelligent when it comes to business and being able to handle it. Yeah, but there's some places where you just ain't got a shot at the table.
Because now one of them can call the other 32 teams before free agency, or agent can call whoever he wants.
What are you thinking?
We making deals. They making deals behind the scenes.
That's right. It's disgusting.
I don't think Lamar mom have the relationship to call the Falcons and be like, hey, look, they trying to give us 170, but what y'all got before free agency hit?
Yes.
Because agents have those relationships.
Yeah, you gotta have the guy. You gotta have the, like, I mean, I've been watching The Wire, and like their lawyer, Avon and Stringer's lawyer, Avon and them knew what they wanted, but the lawyer had the, like, political, like, gross. He knew how to be gross. He knew how to lean on the DA. He knew how to say whatever in that way to get the thing to happen. Like, you know, they couldn't do that because they didn't have that trust or they didn't have that relationship. Like Pac-Man saying, it's different. It's just different, and that's what they're there for. You know, I do think would certainly be a smart business move for Lamar or his mom or whoever to get in touch with an agent and try and lock this in.
Relationships that go behind the scenes. That's why we call them agents.
Well, how about right here too? Like, secret agents, special agents, sports agents. The fucking here in Indianapolis, the Combine. Like, did they have a house set up here to, like, meet with people and potentially make a deal happen?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
That's the shit that's taking place at the NFL. That's how they do their business.
Yeah, this is the biggest company in the world.
That's how they do business, and being like, oh, I need somebody that's able to fucking figure out this game is good business. Like, in my eyes personally, and I think you know this, and I'm excited to get your kind of take on the whole thing.
Well, I think the other element we're missing here is they control the narrative, right? How does all these guys get stories? How do you think they get stories?
I've also said this a million times. These cucks, these insiders for ESPN and Fox Sports or whoever else, they are teaming up with the agents. They are leaking stuff. They are leaking information, leaking narratives. They are pushing all that stuff. It's all one big gross ass back alley thing. It is corrupt AF, no doubt about it.
About what's happening in the league, they get planted. A lot of these stories are planted. We're planning a story so we could say something else. We saw that
we're planning a story to drive up the price on somebody or drive down the price for somebody. It happens all the time.
Falcons planted a story. We're not interested. The Miami planted a story. Well, Lamar needs to plant some stories too, and it's hard to plant a story when you don't have somebody helping you plant. Agents are great at creating.
Was Lamar Jackson's mom going to call whatever ESPN beat Sal Paolantonio? I mean, is she going to make that call? No.
What we call non-elements.
For the record, Sal Pal is great. Sal Pal is not one of those corrupt insiders I'm talking about. Sal Pal is the man. Sal Pal is one of the good guys.
Non-negotiable. Something that's not really important that you make important. And I think
that rat Adam Schefter, he is not one of the good guys.
He needs to have that. He needs to control the narrative a little bit from his side. We don't hear his side. We only hear the Ravens side, who are very good in the PR battle. They're very good at that. I mean, you know, they handle that really well. And
the Ravens have a great organization. Every NFL team should be envious of the organization, the structure, the front office, all that stuff that the Ravens have. Fantastic.
We're missing that element.
Hey, that's a big.
Get tied together.
Hey, that's a big part of it because you win the mob, you win Rome. Right?
That's right. You got to control the narrative. Like, all right, you know, and so how does these, and the other thing is too, we can't underestimate this. You pointed out these 31 billionaires. You go after Lamar, you're changing your franchise. You're basically saying we're all in for 5 years. And that has to be a marriage and a convincing of a lot of people coming together that we're all going to do this together because he's a great player who could change our franchise. And this isn't signing some wide receiver or trading for Calvin Ridley. This is an organizational shift completely. And
I'm not disagreeing with Lombardi, but I do think that that gets overstated a little bit because, like Deshaun Watson, I mean, like, there's no way the entire Browns organization was like on the same page with someone like Deshaun. With that big of a contract, with that kind of guaranteed money, with that kind of alleged criminal background, with all that stuff, there had to be, like, Stefanski couldn't have been perfectly aligned with the ownership, who couldn't be perfectly aligned with the front office, like, who couldn't be perfectly aligned with the roster or the locker room. Like, I think it's more of a, you know, GM may say, look, we got to do this. Coach says, all right, this is how I'll figure it out. Owner says, we're going to do this. GM says, damn it, all right, well, I got to figure these books out. And then the coach says, all right, I got to figure the scheme out. I think in a perfect world, they all come together and they all marry that and they all agree on that cultural shift. But I think that is not the norm.
And you got to get everybody behind that. And that takes somebody who can do alignment, who can connect all three things together. And I think he's missing that. I really do. I think he's hurting himself in the long term about that. Brokering a deal is more than just saying, I want $200 million guaranteed.
Yeah, it's a lot of shit. You know, it's a lot of, as somebody that's been through it a few times, just because I wanted to learn what it was like, and I've had success, and I'm a great card player, so I think that helps me out in the entire thing. And I have great people that help me out, like this man who, it was 20 minutes before I went into that one negotiation where I called you, and you fucking gave me like a motivational speech. I will forever be grateful for that. I want to let you know that.
Well, I think you understand the business, right? And so you didn't have to get traded. You were negotiating. It was a straight line. This is a
I mean, I'm just going to say the same thing I said before, but like that's why like McAfee and Dave Portnoy and people like that can be at those, be the boss basically in those conversations, because they hold all the leverage. They know, like, I can just do this on my own. Like Portnoy, when he's in those negotiation situations, he knows, like, I'm the brand. You know, like Pat McAfee knows I'm the brand. I can do whatever I want. This, if they tear down this studio he's in right now, and he flies to Miami and builds another studio, nothing changes for him. You know, like, he can do whatever he wants, wherever he wants, whenever he wants. Doesn't matter. He can go from YouTube to Spotify to Twitch to whatever. Doesn't matter. It's all the same. He can do whatever he wants in any medium he wants to, right? He's the boss. Lamar ain't the boss. Lamar is not the boss. He doesn't own the club. He doesn't own the league. The club is those 32 billionaires. They own that league. It's their pet. It's their, you know, little fun project. That's what the NFL is. The NFL is their, like, toy. And then all the players help run the toy. Like that's how the NFL is. We look at it as this, like, pure league, but it's not what it is. It's a enormous business. Looking at the NFL like a fun, pure sports league is looking at Disney World like just a fun theme park. It's not a fun theme park. It is one of the biggest businesses, cutthroat, cold-hearted businesses in the world. That's what it is. These owners, they aren't complying. You know, they are things are happening because they want it to happen. Bottom line.
A little bit of a curvy road that you got to navigate, and you got to be able to see beyond the road. I mean, the secret to all victory lies in the organization of the non-obvious. And in this case, you got to see the non-obvious.
Bars! Hey, dude.
Lombardi does a lot of like motivational quotes and motivational speaking, and he writes a lot of like daily motivation articles on his Twitter. If you ever want to go check it out, Lombardi's big into that. You know, that's not really my cut of tea, but yeah, great man. But let me know in the comments below what you think, guys. What do you think? I mean, do you think this is just bad from the NFL, a bad look, unethical, all that stuff? What do you think Lamar should do? Should he get an agent? Let me know your thoughts on this whole thing. I just think it's disgusting. I think the players, you know, this is something the Players Association has to do. I've said for a while now, I think the Players Association is kind of weak. I think the Players Association could be better or could fight for a little bit more for their players. And this is a good example of, like, how are they not pushing for a restructuring of how the franchise tag works and a restructuring of how rookie deals work and all that stuff? But, you know, I'm not in the Players Association, so what does it matter? But let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for listening to the video, watching the video, however you do it. I will see you on the next one. I have to get one of those cute little black tank tops like Pat wears. I need to for the summertime. I might need to start going tank top and gold chain.